Recording! Yes. Alright, I'm going to show you guys quickly like what the next steps will be, and then I'm going to locate some brushes for you guys because I'm actually not sure where they are. So the next step, so this is your first step. You have your first layer down, right? Does everyone have their first layer down?
For all three of them,
Not
or
just one at least.
Oh.
Okay. If you have at least one done, you can start this today. If you don't have one done, you should finish your one. Or if you're like in that mindset of you're really trying to like still piece stuff together, then you can continue to piece together 2 more spreads if that's like where your head is at. And I got some like kind of neutral. Wow, I love your dance moves back there.
Wow,
She
she even saw that. She like looked behind.
You should have seen a walk in rehearsal
Just
yesterday.
have
Walk is
eyes
genius.
in the back of their heads.
Oh yeah, but in rehearsal he just danced.
Walk was just.
You saw
with
it.
his
Alright.
I should have videotaped that. No, with his
So-
long legs, it's scary.
Hey Salvatore, I'm gonna talk just for a minute, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
It's incorrect phrase.
I say yes, sir at home a lot.
I am basically just trying to lay in some color in some of the empty spaces. Now, some of you may not have empty spaces, Vance. But for you, you may instead decide that what you need to do at this moment is cover up, like almost like censor out some parts, right? So maybe there's some parts of a photograph that you don't want to include, or you want to include a smoother transition from one to the next.
I agree.
But we're just trying to lay in some bigger areas of acrylic.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm. These are really good listeners. And we're looking at ways that we can like create balance on both sides. So if you're adding one color on this side, I'm still recording, yes, then you want to add a similar amount and similar tones on the other side. Now, do you see how I didn't just take all my paint and go like this and stir it all together? Why didn't I do that?
Because that would not work.
Does anyone have any idea why I didn't do that?
Because white and yellow made white yellow.
Let's ask again. Does anyone have any idea why I didn't just stir all of these colors together at once?
So you can have multiple tones.
I'm going to have Natalia answer, and then I'm going to have Evelyn add on. Go ahead, Natalia.
So you can have multiple tones.
Okay, so I can have multiple tones. And
That's what I was
Evelyn, what were
thinking.
you going to add?
That was basically what I was just gonna say, that like with like there's some dark colors and there's some lighter colors
Mhm.
in here. Like there's blue and over here there's more like green.
Mhm.
So like making a balance of like on here you might have some orange and over here you might have some orange, but then you also want yellow to make it lighter. Sort of like what Natalia said, but like so you can have different shades of color.
Right. And if I mixed all of this together at once, how many colors would I have?
One. Oh.
One really gross one,
6
right?
and 1.
Like one really kind of mucky color. So the reason, sorry Vance, I don't want to interrupt you. John?
Get it out.
The reason why I don't mix all the colors together at once is because then I only have one color to work with. And I want to have a nice variety of color to work with. And I also want to start to create some pattern that could overlap multiple areas. So I don't just want to make one pattern on this bird piece and one pattern on this tree piece. What I want is to connect the pieces with similar patterns. Now you can do that by putting your brush up on one end. You can do that by using a smaller brush and doing like dotted patterns you saw on the video. And if you're like not really remembering kind of like what this looks like in the end, I would recommend that you go back and watch one of the Vibun videos that's posted in the module, because I think it's really helpful to see kind of that process and what she's doing in there. I want to cover more of this blue, because this blue is the one color that stands out the most from all the rest of this. And this green over here, I want to like neutralize that a little bit. Do you have a question?
If I like something that you're doing here, can I like use that, or is that like would that like be okay?
Like you like a pattern or a
Yeah.
mark that I'm making?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, artists copy
Yeah.
other artists, right?
Yeah.
When they see a technique they like, or when they see something that works for them, they copy that, and that's okay. There's an artist, his whole book is about that. His name is Austin Kleon, and it's called, I think it's called Steal Like an Artist. I'll try to find a quote from it and put it up in your canvas, because he's a really cool guy. He takes newspaper and he blacks out like everything but like maybe 7 words, and it creates like a little poem. You may have seen
Yeah, I
that.
did.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool, super cool artist, but his whole book is about how, like, nothing's really original, right? So but also, like, copyright is a thing, right? And he talks about that a little bit in his book, too. All right, so I'm starting to feel like I'm in a place where these look a little bit more balanced. Does that make sense? Salvatore, what do you notice? Where do you see balance among the two sides?
They have the same colors of
What-
paint.
Okay. What else do they have that's similar across both sides?
Designs, exactly what I was going to say.
Say more about what designs do you notice that are similar on both pages, Salvatore? I'm doing it right now.
The same strokes.
Okay, yeah, the same kinds of marks, right? Too easy. I know, it was like such an obvious choice. It was
I
hard.
couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. So really look closely, and you want to make your photos, your ephemera, sort of unrecognizable, right? We keep talking about that word, that unrecognizable thing. So you may want to black out, right? We just talked about that. Black out a section of it. You may want to cover up a section of it. You may want to work back into something and blend from one photo to another. Like this looks a little more yellow. And I actually don't have a cup of water over here, and it would be ideal if I had a cup of water and a
That would be ideal.
paper towel, yeah. I'll just get a different brush really quick. But I notice now that this bird piece has this really light yellow here that I could blend this way. And I could actually take those birds and replicate them over into this linen. This is like a piece of fabric over here from a mummy. But I could take this and I could blend this over this way. So really, I mean, this is like kind of experimental, guys. Like just explore the color and let the pieces kind of guide you. But you want to cover up probably 80% of this to some extent so that when you're done, your pieces of ephemera are unrecognizable and they're kind of starting to blend together in a way that they didn't before. Okay? You guys have questions about what are you doing first?
Finishing your first assignment.
Yeah, finishing your first spread if it's not done yet. Then what?
Kind of working your other ones will be.
Thank you for listening. These are great. Do you have questions about this stuff? Okay. Get to it then. You have a nice
couple of
long block this morning.
So I thought I couldn't layer anything. That's how they told me. I was like, oh.
I need whip podge.
Well, you know, I think that's an artistic choice too, right? Like,
I wanted to layer stuff, but I was like afraid about this because I thought like
you asked me if you could overlap those, and I said I was fine.
yeah.
Yeah.